this is how you're going to set up Firebase in Draftbit. So the first thing you do is go to firebase.google.com and then get started. It's going to ask you to create a project. So just create a project. We're going to call it Firebase tutorial. Continue. We're not going to enable Google Analytics for now. Just trying to keep it simple for the purpose of the tutorial. And then Firebase is going to create a project for you. Firebase has different projects like a database, cloud messaging, authentication, storage. We're only going to cover the database for this example. So here it is. My project is ready. We're only going to care about the Firestore database. And the Firestore database is a NoSQL database. It handles real time, so you can update something in the database. It will be reflected automatically without the need for any refresh on your app. It scales automatically for you. It does permission and rules for security purposes. So let me go ahead and create a database for now. It's going to prompt you for whether you want a production mode or whether you want it in test mode. The production mode is by default closed. It closes everything. So you won't be able to access anything. And so you really have to be more explicit in setting it up for what you want to allow user to do. Or you can do test mode, which is the exact opposite. It opens up everything. The only caveat here is that it only does that for 30 days. So it's really good if you want to get started, do a little demo, set things up. But keep in mind that it will stop working in 30 days if you don't change anything. So for now, it's perfect for us. We're going to do test mode. That's what we recommend people starting with. Select a location, and then it's going to provision the cloud Firestore, and then we're going to see what our database looks like. I'm going to use a database for my cooking. So I cook different food at different temperature for different time. I'm going to start a collection. I'm going to call it cooks for my cooking sessions. I'm going to actually use the name of the food as the document ID, and that's going to be something I use for the rest of the tutorial. So steak, temperature is going to be in Fahrenheit, and it's going to be 129. And then time is going to be in minutes. It's going to be around an hour. Here we go. I'm going to do just another one just so we can better understand the relationship between documents and collection. So I'm going to do carrots at a temperature of 185 for about 30 minutes. Okay, so here it is. I have my database here. So now I'm going to go back to Draftbit and try to connect to that database. So in Draftbit, you can create a new app. I'm going to call it Firebase tutorial. Here we go. I'm just going to go with a blank app for this tutorial. So all right, start building, and let's do just a read screen first when I'm going to try to read from that database. So my read screen is essentially going to be just iterating through all the items in that database. So here's my list. Now, if I look at the data tab of that list, you'll see that it says, oh, you have no data available just yet. You need to add data at the screen level to get started. This is what we mean by the screen level. That's like that little screen icon. So here I can add data, and that's where I'm going to connect. I have different choices. I can do REST API or I can do Firebase, which is what I'm trying to do now. And I haven't set up anything yet, right? It's a brand new app, so I need to do a new Firebase connection. And this is what that screen looks like. By the way, you can also access that screen. If I close it here, you can always access it on the left-hand side in that data model. So here it is. I'm going to create a brand new Firebase connection. Now you see that I need Firebase config, which is essentially credential to access that project, and a service account file. So now I'm going to go back to Firebase, get all that information, and come back to Draftbit and set it up. So the one thing to know with most of that information is going to be in project settings, by the way. The one thing to know about Firebase is that in order to consume that information, to connect to that database, I do need to create an app for it, which is essentially like a client for my database. So in Firebase, I'm going to create a new app. I'm going to give it the same name, Firebase tutorial. Here we go. And that essentially gives me access to those credentials I was talking about. So here they are. I can copy paste them. But regardless, at any given time, you can go to project settings, scroll down, and you'll see that configuration that I just copy paste. So you can copy paste it from here as well. That's always going to be there. All right, so now that I have that information, I'm going to go back to Draftbit. I'm going to paste it here. And the next step is service account. So back to Firebase, service account are right here, still in project settings. and I'm essentially going to create a new private key. Here we go. That's my private key. Moving on to this one, I got the right file. Here it is. And that's it. I did the config, I did the service account file, and now my collection has been received from Firebase. So I'm all set. Now I can close this. I can now use a connection that I just made. So I'm going to connect to the whole collection and not just an individual document. And that's the one I've been setting it up, Cooks. So now that I've set up the data at the screen level, I can go back to my list and I see now data. So I'm going to iterate through that database and essentially let me create a view. And in that view, I'm going to create a text. So you can see there's already 2 of them because there's 2 entries in my database. So the first text is going to be the ID, which in my case is actually the name of the food. So you can see now carrot and steak showing up. And I can, let me just style that view a tiny bit so we can see it better. I'm going to put a little bit of margin around it. That's it. Hopefully now you can see better. And I'm going to also add one more text to show, actually I'll do 2 more. So the first one, as I mentioned, is the ID or the name of the food. The second one, I'm going to do the time. Here it is. And the third one is going to be the temperature. Here we go, temperature. So that's it. That's how you retrieve. Oh, one cool thing I should show is that now if I go back to Firebase, because it is real time, if I do add a document here, I'm going to call it turn it, and it's essentially going to be about the same temperature as the carrot, and I'm going to do it for up to 30 minutes. All right, so now I added a new document in my collection, and it should be automatically showing up here in Draftbit. So that's what I meant earlier with that kind of real-time connection between Firebase and Draftbit. So this is how you set up Firebase into Draftbit.